I have been meaning to get you onto this show. I do not look on that demon app anymore, except I do go to your feed whenever there's a Trump rally, because I don't want to watch it. I'm being honest. I don't know that I want to sit through it, but I follow your feed, and that's how a lot of people are actually experience Trump rallies. So you watch them so we don't have to, and we appreciate you for it. Was what you saw last night typical of the way that Trump's rallies play out?
It was, with the exception that he spent, about 20 to 30 minutes at the top recounting in painstaking detail the assassination attempt, which was obviously very different from a normal rally speech. And then he had another 20 minutes or so of acknowledgments. So by the time he actually got to the rally speech, he was 40 minutes in, and that ended up, being the main reason that the speech ended up going past an hour and a half. And, one of the things that's always really notable to me after Trump does a speech like this is logging onto social media and seeing people who don't pay close attention to him kind of appalled at his state, at how incoherent he is, how rambling his speeches are, how boring they are. And to me, I posted the Jack Nicholson meme of him nodding with a smile because this is what they are. I mean, this has been Trump going back at least to 2018. His speeches have barely changed, and last night was another illustration of that.
And did you have a copy of the speech? Did you have a written copy of it while were you following along with it, or were you just experiencing it in real time?
I went in cold, and I saw some reporters pointing out today that there were a number of prominent national papers that reported on his speech based on the prepared remarks. And so I saw in the Boston Globe, for instance, their headline was something to the effect of "Trump emphasizes unity in speech." And so, he kind of ended up playing the media in that respect.
Oh, totally.
I was very skeptical as news was circulating yesterday during the day that this was going to be a different Trump, that he was going to emphasize unity, not be divisive. And I think what he ended up doing is actually reminding people of a lot of the reasons that they were turned off by him in the first place. He mentioned the China virus at one point, which I think should have given people flashbacks to his press conferences in 2020 during COVID. He talked about his endorsement from Kim Jong-un, and I don't think that's something that a lot of Americans really think is worth touting. He dipped into election denialism, talked about how Democrats cheat on elections, which is obviously a lie. And so, I think if he would have just stopped the speech about half an hour in, there might have been something to be said for this is a different Trump. He was more somber. But, we basically got the full gamut of Trump, including the full rally speech. And so I think what he ended up doing inadvertently is probably reminding a lot of people of the reasons they didn't like him in the first place.
Where do you come down on this question? Because we struggle with it. I'll be honest with you on this show. Showing a Trump rally would be showing a stream of lies to our viewers that we would then have to attempt to fact check. But once something is said, once a lie is out on TV, it gets a sort of gravitas just from having been on TV. Where do you come down on this question? Because to me, one of the values of last night, one of the valuable things that happened last night is that people who don't normally watch Trump actually got to experience how off the rocker he is. Maybe, should we show him more? What do you think?
I think it's probably unwise for a network like yours to carry Trump live for the reasons that you touched upon, just the fire hose of lies. And, I saw this a lot this week on mainstream networks where at the RNC, they were interviewing a lot of Republicans, and Trump Republicans were lying so quickly that it becomes very difficult to fact check. But I think also last night really spoke to something that I'm finding quite interesting in this cycle, which is that by and large, Trump rallies these days, I think in some ways do him more harm than good, because they end up creating these clips of him being totally unhinged and sounding deranged and lying that end up circulating on mainstream social media channels or being clipped up, on your network or others, and really look bad for him. And I think kind of ironically, the rally that probably did him the most political good was the one where someone shot at him, because it produced the image of him, with a fist in the air bleeding that obviously was shown heavily last night as well and has become kind of like a theme for the Trump campaign. But I think what we saw last night is the reason that I think these rallies, more so than ever before, are actually doing Trump more harm than good.
Yeah, it didn't make the Secret Service look too good. They weren't really doing a great job protecting him. Where do you come down on this?